Okay, welcome back to the program. Cody Saftik here. We're now joined on the phone by Justin Wren, the big pygmy, an all-around good dude and a big show veteran. Justin, thanks for coming on the program.
Hey, thanks a lot. I'm a little disappointed that it's not Robin Black, but it's all right.
Yeah, everybody does love some Robin Black. I'll have to get him to do a Justin Wren breakdown at some point in the near future. But coming up, February 19th on Bellator, Shamrock versus Gracie 3, we're going to see you back in action on the preliminary portion, taking on Juan Torres. How are your preparations just been for the fight so far?
It's honestly been great. First fight back in Bellator, I actually only basically had a 6-week camp. I had 12 weeks planned, but Congo took me away for 3, and then my fight got bumped up 3 weeks, so only 6 weeks really to fully train. This time I've had 5 weeks in Colorado. Before that I was at Team Takedown, so I'm getting high altitude training, and I'm training with absolute studs. So I really feel it coming back, and I'm really hoping that the old me is going to come out, and then after that, I got to build onto my old self.
Now, you've always trained at high-level places, and, you've moved around a little bit in your career, kind of being in Iowa and Texas and Colorado. And, everybody always says you're a Texas boy, but I thought you were born in Mississippi.
I guess I was born in Mississippi. It was only 4 months, I guess. And my mom always tells me that, but I claim Texas because I was 4 months old, and also just, the Texas background. I was the first national champion from Texas in Greco-Roman wrestling, and went on to the Olympic Training Center, living there, and I was the only Texas boy really there. So I always get thrown in there with being Texan.
Now, you spent a lot of your time training in Texas, and as you mentioned, still spending some time at Team Takedown even, and prior to that over at Travis Luter's gym. But now you're calling, the Grudge Training Center over in Colorado. Is that officially your camp? Is that officially the home for Justin Wren?
I don't know if it's officially my home yet, but I am looking to move potentially after this camp. Not because Team Takedown isn't excellent, because it absolutely is. But I feel like I want to get my wrestling back, and I think a great way to do that. This past Sunday, I was hanging out with Brandon Slay, the Team USA coach, also Olympic gold medalist for freestyle. And I'm going to have a facilities pass so I can do freestyle and Greco at the center, maybe even boxing. That way I get a good base, maybe base out of northern Colorado Springs, get the high altitude, get the Olympic style training there for at least a year, get that stuff back, because I feel like I really neglected it in my MMA career. And then after the 5-year break, I got to get that stuff back. Any fight that's ever touched the ground, I was able to finish. That's not trying to pat myself on the back or be arrogant. It's just, that's the way it is. If I get you to the ground, I'm working for a finish. And that might not always be that way, but I need to get back to those winning ways. And I think I'm going to do that through being there, and also up at Grudge. They're just on a whole other level. They're coaching world champions in boxing. So to have MMA world champions like Justin Gaethje, and also having Rashad and George St. Pierre and Nate Marquardt and Shane Carlin and all those guys that have been coming through there, even Holly Holm coming through there.
Pat Barry.
Pat Barry, yeah, I was training with him today.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
It's just, it's an incredible place. So would I call it home? I would be proud to call it home. But it depends on if I make the first 12 months in Colorado Springs or Denver, and then maybe I'll just commute down to Colorado Springs a couple times a week.
Well, it's definitely a gym that has a lot of success and a lot of good things going for them. So never a bad place to to hone your skills, so to speak. Use some of that Eddie Bravo 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu system stuff.
Yeah, even that was going on today. They show some nasty stuff. I like in a good way. Just I really love the system. I think a lot of it I can use, and so I'm excited about that, and also just the atmosphere. Some fight gyms, the atmospheres are negative, or you don't know if you're going to go in there, and if your training partner is going to try to hurt you, or you don't know if your coach is really in it for you or not, or what's going on. At Grudge, it's incredible. Everybody's there to help bring up everybody at the same time. There's no egos in the real sense of the word. A lot of fight gyms say it. This one's true. Everyone's humble and wants to see everyone succeed.
Now, on Bellator 149, you'll be taking on Juan Torres. Now, not a whole lot of footage of Torres out there, but what we do know is he's one of the few guys in the division that's cutting weight to make 265 pounds. So he's a very large guy. Are you focusing specifically on working with big guys, or is this basically like, if I'm in shape and my wrestling's, intact, then this should be no problem. I'll ground him. And as you mentioned, when fights do hit the ground, you typically end them.
Yeah. So I would think that he wants to keep it on his feet or to potentially put me on my back, because he does have wrestling and does put people on their backs and keeps them there. However, I think just all around I'm better at him than him at everything. And Juan wasn't necessarily the first choice. There was a couple others in line, and things happened, and one was kind of Visa, but Bellator was on the fence with him. Another guy that was 9-3, he was a great choice. He got arrested. Another guy that I think was 7-4 or something like that, another great choice. He got just knocked out silly, couldn't take the fight. And so Juan has had time, 5 weeks. He just fought a few weeks ago, so he's already in fight shape. He's a Houston boy, so he's going to have that part of the crowd on his side. And I think he's going to look at it as his real opportunity to step up and make a name for himself. So I know he's looking at me as a stepping stone, and I need to go in there looking to crush him. So crush that stone.
A lot of opponents would look at a big fight like this against you as you mentioned, a great opportunity for them to bring exposure to their own careers. You, on the other hand, you fight for a completely different reason, not necessarily to bring exposure to you or your own career, but to your tribe. And a lot of people, from Fight Network, we even play Tough Season 10 currently, everyone knows you as the Viking, but that's a thing of the past. Now you're the big pygmy, Justin Wren, and really doing a great job bringing exposure to the organization, Fight for the Forgotten. So for people who might not know the story or might not know how you get involved, how exactly did you start with this organization?
Yeah, well, the Big Pygmy translated is Mabutimangbo, and my full name is Efeosa Mabutimangbo, and after that I normally have to go, ooh-yay, ooh-yay, or ooh-wah,
I love it, man.
And Efeosa means the man who loves us, and Mabutimangbo just means the Big Pygmy. And so a lot of people don't know this actually, but in Mabakulu and Babofi and Antiquaqua, those are 3 villages. Three baby boys were born while I was there living with them. And their way to kind of thank me for their new land and water and the farming projects we had begun. There's now 3 little pygmy boys named Mabutimangbo Justin. So I'm hoping 1 or 2 of them are kind of tall, on the taller side. The Mabuti Pygmies are 4'7" on average, but now their name translated is the Big Pygmy Justin. And so I love that. I love those little guys, and I get to go back and get pictures with them. I'm going to see them grow up, and maybe my kids will be like brothers to them. And it's just awesome. But Fight for the Forgotten, I fell in love with the Mabuti Pygmies, heard of their suffering, went there, and instead of just wanting to do a show up, blow up, and blow out technique, or come in and have a parade and throw a party and get a bunch of pictures and go home with, I really felt like I was supposed to live with them. That way I could listen to them and learn from them and really figure out the best, most appropriate, and practical way to love them. And so we do that through land, water, and food initiatives. So to date, we're about to have 3,000 acres of land legally, not in my name or Fight for the Forgotten or Shalom University's name, a well-respected university in Congo, but in the Pygmies' name. And what that means is they get to pass it down from generation to generation. It's the strongest thing in court. And at the goal of this, I started, at first I thought the problem's too big, I'm too small, there's no way I can do anything. But after you develop relationships, you fall in love with them, little guy dies on you and you bury him and you just get wrecked. You decide you got to do something instead of turning your back on them. And 300 acres of land was the first goal and 2 water wells, but it's about to be 3,000, and it's 35 water wells, and it's 18 people that are full-time employees. 8 of them have graduated from university with master's degrees in community development, and our whole goal is to pass the baton. I don't want to be the hero in this. Those guys are my heroes, and I might be the spark plug, but they're definitely the engine. And I look up to them, love them so much. So what we wanted to do was put the tools in their hands and the knowledge in their heads and train them up and say, you can do it, because so many times in the third world or in Africa, charity hurts more than it helps. And they're treated kind of like a human safari, or treated like they're dumb and they can't do anything for themselves. So they might as well take a hand out instead of maybe a hand up. And so what we want to do is encourage them and inspire them, and then empower them with the right tools. So we're starting a self-sustainable business for them, drilling wells. And sorry, man, I'm getting like kind of misty-eyed. I miss them. I love them. Right after the fight, I'm going straight to Congo, and ringside at the fight will be my brother, and translator and right-hand man. His name is Benjamin Laringa Coley. And his pygmy name is Amagu Amagu, which means we are all one, we are not different. And I just love that name. And he's going to be there, first time to the United States, first time to an MMA fight. I'm sure he's going to have culture shock like crazy. I get culture shock when I come back here to the States. I can't imagine what it's going to be like for him. Hopefully, Bellator will help me with some ringside seats so he sees up close. But I just can't wait to win for them.
And was this always a plan? I mean, in 2010, when initially you went over there, you were on a 3-fight winning streak. You were close to going back to a big show regardless. I believe you had fought 3 times in 4 or 5 months and won all 3 of them. When you're down there and 5 years goes by, was it always a plan that I'm going to come back and I'm going to use, my career and my name and my reputation to help bring exposure to them? Or did time just get away from you? Was it always the end goal of, I'm going to come back and I'm going to continue my career in order to help these people?
I never thought I would come back. I mean, there was thoughts of it. I didn't give up on it, saying I can't fight because I'm not good enough to be a fighter. That never crossed my mind. What crossed my mind was, this is more important than that. That fighting for people is better than fighting against a person. And to if I had to choose one or the other, it's just, to me, it's not an option. It's not a choice. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And for fighting, there's a limited window. But if I can, my better half, she's pretty smart, pretty sweet. And she starts saying, what if you could do this for them? And what if the next 5 years sets up the next 50 years? What if the next 5 years of fighting sets up the next 50 years of Fight for the Forgotten? And so then I started working towards us making it a sustainable model to where it's not dependent on me. Because if Fight for the Forgotten is dependent on Justin Wren, it will fail. 100%, 200%. It will fail if it's all up to me. And so that's why we believe investing in others, investing in relationships, investing in training, and passing the torch. And so that's what we started doing. That's why we have those 18 people. 4 worked at a university and were in the community development department. One was a field director. Others are community development driven, but they didn't have jobs or better opportunities for their families to be the answer to their own problems in their own country. So now it's countrymen helping countrymen, and that frees me up to coming back here. I mean, I was there for the first 12 or 13 water wells, and oh my gosh, those celebrations. I've been to the funerals, right, of just kids dying of dirty water. But then those celebrations, I've been to the World Series, the NBA Finals. I've been, to the Stanley Cup. I've been to the Pacquiao fights, been to the biggest fights in the UFC, and the depth of the joy that comes out of people when they get clean water for the first time. man, to me, the splash on the ground, like someone was asking, what does that sound like when the first pump of clean water comes up and it just crushes and crashes and splashes against the concrete? And that, to me, is giants falling. That's better than any one-punch knockout where some 265-pound guy falls on the ground. This was my Goliath, and this is my battlefield, and it's the water crisis for my pygmy family. And so I love it, seeing that. I watched him do it. I helped him do it for the first 12, watched him on the 13th, now they're on 35. And even though we've paused on 35, our guys are all in each of the villages, and they're teaching them how the WASH program, the water and sanitation and hygiene. So now going even further, using soap, washing your hands, and we're looking for people and have partnered with people to come in and teach those programs to our guys, and then also to come out into the field and into the forest with us to teach that.
And when you're down there, do they know that you're a fighter? Do they know you have a profession? I mean, it just seems like in a world where different cultures see different things, is it easy for them to grasp that, oh, this is our friend, such a good dude, such a humble man, but he flies back to the other side of the world and locks himself in a cage and beats somebody for our own good? Is that something that they understand, or is that something you just kind of keep to yourself? And you're two Justin Wren, so to speak, one in the cage and one you're away back with your family?
I would say I'm two Justin Wrens for the most part. Now I think the pygmies this next time, maybe they're going to know this part of the spectrum, but you're right. It literally is. It's like going back either 100 years, or it's almost like going to a different planet. I mean, I've gone into villages before where not only, literally, I promise, not only have they never seen a white man, but they had only heard like myths of white men. And so when I came in there, all the men ran and hid behind trees and had bows, arrows, and spears, and a pregnant lady with an infant had to be and the women are diving into their huts, but the one that was brave enough finally to come up to me, because I'm saying in their language, Rafiki Yango, Nakutenda Sana, I'm saying like, hey, I'm your friend. I'm here to love you. And a pregnant lady with maybe a couple-month-old comes up to me and touches me to make sure that I'm real and that I'm not a spirit, and then to make sure I'm so dang hairy. I'm the hairiest dude most people ever see. That I'm not some sort of vanilla gorilla crossbreed kind of thing. That I'm a real dude, and I'm not going to hurt him. So, anyways, to explain that I get to do sports for a profession is a conversation I've just kind of left out. When I go there, I fly under the radar. If I say I'm a professional athlete to the government, then they're going to think I have a lot of money, so they're going to try to extort me and be really, really corrupt, make it a hassle for me everywhere. With the university, I have a badge, and I'm just called the professor of appropriate technologies. So I teach community development in a practical way. And so I'm at a university. I don't even have a university degree. I've gone to a couple but never finished. And I'm at a university that's highly respected, has university professors literally from Scotland and the UK and the US and all sorts of stuff. And somehow I get thrown into the group with them because I don't just talk about it. We go out and do it. And that's what the university's goal is. They don't want to just be theoretical. They want to be practical. And so for their students to graduate, they have to go live in a month. With their undergrad, they live a month in the forest with the pygmies. For their masters, they live 2 to 3 months in the forest with the pygmies. And they have to prove that they made positive change out there. And so I'm one of the guys. I'm living out there. I'm checking these students, making sure that they are becoming not just doing their homework, but that their community development is about relationships too. Like, do they like the pygmies, or are they racist against them? And so, anyways, I'm kind of the more practical side of things.
Well, you know what, Justin? You're a humanitarian. You're a good guy. You're an all-around badass. I really appreciate you taking the time. I could talk to you all day, but I know you got some more interviews and a lot of training to get up on. So I wish you nothing but the best. Bellator 149, the preliminary card against Juan Torres. And once again, thanks for stopping by and taking the time, Justin.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.